Now, moments ago, as you know, Nancy Pelosi held a news conference, and here's how she responded. This is how she responded to the question about her leadership. Roll tape.
So you want me to sing my praises? Is that what you're saying? Why should I? Well, I'm a master legislator. I am a strategic, politically astute leader. I am my leadership is recognized by many around the country, and that is why I'm able to attract the support that I do, which is essential to our election, sad to say. I'm very pleased at the cooperation that we're doing, working with all the social media and small donor community to change how we communicate, but also how we attract resources, intellectual and financial, to the party. I have experience in winning the contest.
You heard it. And so, I believe, did Congressman Peter King, Republican from New York, who joins us now. Master legislator. Now, I don't want to be sarcastic or facetious here, but what do you make of what Nancy Pelosi just said? Representative King.
Yeah, I think she's protesting too much. And the reality is, in politics, you're judged by results. And in the district down in Georgia, President Trump had only carried that by 1.5 points. This time, Republicans carried it by 3 times more than that, and Nancy Pelosi was the main issue Republicans raised. So basically, we won that seat because of the fact that Nancy Pelosi was the Democratic leader. That's the reality she has to accept. But I also heard somebody say before, I don't know where the Democrats would go because they're so far, really so far to the left, so progressive, liberal, whatever you want to call it. And again, you have someone like Tim Ryan, obviously, and I don't want to be getting involved in the other party's politics. But the fact is, the Democratic Party itself. Well,
you'd love to make a comment. Come on, Congressman.
By the way, is that Herb London in the background? He's an old friend. So tell him I said hello. How you doing, Herb?
How are you, Pete?
All right, very good. Well, no, the reality is, though, that she is right now is a symbol of the Democratic Party, and I think that they have hit a level they can't go above, and they're 0 for 4 in special elections, and this is a time when President Trump has gotten the worst possible media barrage against him. Everything PR-wise and media-wise was going against the president and the Republicans. And in spite of that, Republicans have taken the 4 seats. And again, Nancy Pelosi was basically the main issue we raised. So I think the longer she stays on, the better it is for Republicans. But I don't know what their alternative is on their side. I mean, in the Senate, you have people like Joe Manchin and others. In the House, really, it's almost a race to the left.
Okay, I'm going to repeat for our audience's benefit some of the bullet points that we're getting from the Republicans' plan, the Senate plan to reform health care. Number 1, all Obamacare taxes gone. The individual mandate, the employer mandate, gone. The shrinking of Medicaid slowed down. Billions of federal dollars going into the market to stabilize the insurance market. Enhanced health savings accounts, preserve the pre-existing condition coverage, and you can still cover your kids until the age of 26. Now, Congressman King, that sounds a fairly moderate proposal. Do you think it's moderate enough to peel off some moderate Democrats in the Senate and also in the House to get some kind of bipartisan support here?
No, I don't think so. I think when you're talking about Medicaid, the Democrats are pretty much locked in. I mean, they may get 1 or 2, but I just don't see it happening.
But it only takes 1 or 2, Congressman. In the Senate, it would only take 1 or 2 Democrats to, like Senator Manchin, for example.
I don't think so. From my conversations with Senator Manchin, I don't think so. But again, we'd have to wait and see. In the House, perhaps a few, but it's going to be very tough. In the Senate, no, I think even Joe Manchin. Again, I want to speak for him, but my impression is that because of Medicaid, because his state is so dependent on the Medicaid expansion, that it would be very difficult for him to vote for that. But again, obviously, he's a good friend, and I can't speak to him, but that's the impression I would have.
Now, I characterized it as a fairly moderate proposal, bearing in mind that you're sweeping aside the signature legislation of President Obama. I still think it's a fairly moderate proposal. What say you?
Yeah, the concern I would have, this is probably where Herb London and I would disagree, whether or not Medicaid expansion worked, whether it was important to have factors in there, and I would prefer a slower leveling of it off, only because like in New York, there's 800,000 people on it right now, about 25,000 in my district, And the health systems and the local governments have tied themselves into that. And I think we need more of a transition period. But other than that, I think it's a good bill.
But that could be worked out either in the committee stage or it could be worked out in amendments in the Senate. This is not a done deal at this point. There's still room for negotiation. The sausage is still being made, is it not?
Right. Yeah, and it's always ugly when you're cutting sausage. It's making sausage. So.
Now, we've come to the conclusion, that my conclusion may be, that it's better to get something than nothing. Because the Republicans must produce something on health care and they must produce something on tax cuts. I say it's better to have something rather than nothing. What say you?
Yeah, I agree. I think if the president doesn't start getting some signature legislation through, it's going to tie down his entire program, and we can't afford that. So we have to go ahead. And I agree. I said the concern I would have is on the Medicaid, if we can somehow adjust that. I know people like Senator Portman and others in the Senate have concerns about that also. But again, overall, I give the Senate credit for moving as quickly as they have.
Okay. Congressman King, always a pleasure, and thanks very much for being with us. I appreciate it.